Today's day is Friday, June 26th, 2026. We're here at the residence of Hyun. We are here to analyze the damages claimed on the homeowner's policy for State Farm in regard to a storm that occurred exactly 1 year from today. Actually over the period of the 25th, 26th, and 27th of June. Several hail-related incidents took place at and around this property, and so we're here to review the anomalies and damages regarding this claim. First thing I want to bring to the attention of the adjuster reviewing this claim, we have galvanized downspouts and gutters. Okay, you can see the rust here. Okay, it is not going to take damage from the hail, even with it being up to 1.5 inches in reported size. Okay, this is surrounded throughout the property, so as far as collateral damages, we are going to be kind of restricted only to what is up on the roof. Now, even still, some aluminum on this house, I want to show the stark difference. Dent there. And then I'm not going to even take any of this into consideration because this is likely caused by foot traffic. But still, my point being, the collateral damages we are going to have are going to be restricted to what is on the roof. Right here we have some ground spatter, as you can see, solidifying and confirming that there was hail here reported on the data loss. You can see there we have 1 inch in spatter measurement here on this deck. Take a quick photo of that. So up to 1 inch on a spatter size. Again, take a look down here on some of these steps. Another spatter hit here, coming up to about 1 inch. Obvious spatter. Again, confirming that there was in fact hail at this property. You can see it all over this deck. And again, we are past a year, or right at the year mark on the data loss. So for this spatter to still be here, it had to be somewhat significant. Now, spatter is not necessarily damage, but you can see it does in fact confirm that there was hail at the property. Again, want to show that again. We're measuring up again to 1 inch on spatter, ground spatter. Okay, so we will use that as collateral evidence to substantiate the damages the homeowner is claiming. Galvanized downspouts are going to be a preventative for identifying collateral damage to the gutters. They're just not going to take damage. Now let's head on up to the roof. Alrighty, now that we are up on the roof, we are going to circle some anomalies and take a closer look at them as we find them. That's obviously bruised matting right there. I want to point out real quick, evident spatter on the plastic certainteed turtle box. Photograph, document that. There is some wear and tear on this roof, undeniably. What I would like to do is take a moment also here in a second and document and identify the damages between what hail damage does to a roof and what wear and tear will do as a roof naturally ages. One of those things would be, in fact, no consistency in shape or size in regard to wear and tear, blistering. However, with hail, you are going to see a consistent pattern. So, first and foremost, let's address the hail. I'm going to measure each one of these anomalies, and if they are from the same weather event as the same hail that was reported in the area on the date of loss, they should measure up to the same size as well as the spatter we're seeing. Okay, what we're seeing is 1 inch in diameter, bruised matting, embedded granules. Gonna photograph as we go. Bruised matting on the dragon's tooth coming up to 1 inch in diameter. Embedded granules, fractured asphalt matting. 1 inch in diameter, bruised asphalt matting and bedded granules. 1 inch in diameter, bruised asphalt matting and bedded granules. 1 inch in diameter, embedded granules, bruised asphalt matting. 1 inch in diameter, bruised asphalt matting, embedded granules, fractured asphalt matting in a circular shape. 1 inch. 1 inch. Also, 2 separate surfaces are damaged. As you can see here, we have a fracture and embedded granules in a circular shape affecting the dragus tooth and the bottom layer of the laminate shingle, telling me that something outside source created an impact here, struck the shingle, bruising it in 2 separate places. Couldn't happen from wear and tear. 1 inch in diameter, bruised matting, embedded granules. Again, I want to show here we got 2 separate surfaces. 1 inch in diameter, bruised asphalt matting, embedded granules. Are we seeing the pattern here, ladies and gentlemen? We're seeing some sort of consistency with the spatter at the property, the anomalies on the shingle, and the hail on the reported data loss. So, again, I want to point out, if we examine this pipe boot, the plumbing boot, obvious spatter on the plumbing boot, all these little marks that you see where it's removed the oxidized layer of dirt and debris. You can see I removed it with my finger, but all these little dots, that's what the hail does, is when it's dense, it strikes it and it removes that oxidized layer, proving that there was in fact 1 inch in diameter on that spatter hit. There was in fact hail at this property. Now what I'm going to do is identify some blistering on this roof. Alrighty, so here what you can see on this shingle here is we don't have bruise matting. Okay, what we actually have is in this direction here. It's following a pattern that the rest of the roof is horizontally here, 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 here of wear and tear. See, it's there. It is following a pattern, but it's not consistent with the other anomalies. Okay. Next thing is if I measure it, we have over 2.5 inches in length for this anomaly. And probably thirdly and most importantly, when identifying damage from hail versus wear and tear, such as heat blistering, is blistering pops outward. Okay, that's what a blister does, outward, not inward. Okay, when a blister pops outward, it actually removes the asphalt matting. Again, asphalt matting is still intact on all of these anomalies that you can see as I post in the photos as we go. However, here, one thing I want to show is the asphalt is actually popped out. So we are losing asphalt. It's popping outward, not inward, not embedded. The loss of granules and the loss of asphalt matting versus embedded granules and embedded fractured asphalt matting. 2 separate differences. So what do we have there? We have a consistent pattern of wear and tear. It seems to be going horizontal. In areas that it's not horizontal, you can see here it's going vertically. And again, we have over 3 inches of wear and tear, saying that this something about this particular shingle in this area right here, a lot of heat was concentrated here, causing the wear and tear to happen. So a consistency, but completely different from what we're seeing with the anomalies on the roof that I believe to be caused by hail, as well as the reported data loss and the consistency in measurement. Okay, the likelihood of all of these damages not being caused by hail, yet measuring up to the same size as the spatter and the hail on the reported data loss, it's like 1,000,000 to 1. Okay, probably more. It's not likely that that would happen. It's indicative of it all being related to the same occurrence, same loss, same event that was documented. Next, I want to take a look at some of the metals and we'll continue on looking at the shingles. Quick examination of the soft metals. Obviously dented and impacted. Some smaller than others. Keep in mind, with the hail date we have,
Highest measurement was being reported 1.5 inches. Smallest being 3/4 inches. So, and even 1/2 inch. So you're gonna see all different shapes and sizes, but I wanna see if there's a consistency. 1 inch on measurement. 1 inch in measurement, okay? So we're starting to see even more of a pattern with the anomalies on the shingles, the spatter on the roof, and the soft metals. I do want to come down here and check this one also. Alrighty. Again, you can see the damages on the soft metals. Take a guess of what they're going to measure out to. I have a feeling I know. 1 inch. Okay? So, you take all that into consideration with the reported hail and the date of loss, the anomalies on the shingles, the spatter on the ground, the spatter on the roof, the likelihood that this wasn't caused by hail is very low. Again, I want to show the patterns of wear and tear on a roof. You can see here, there is no consistency in shape or size. Wear and tear here on the hip and ridge versus damage caused by hail on the hip and ridge. Okay, notice how it's not following this pattern in the middle. You don't see any wear and tear on these sides, okay? However, you see some right here. What is that? What is that? That doesn't follow that same wear and tear pattern as this. But what pattern do you think it follows? Let's take a look and measure. 1 inch. 1 inch. Folks, what you're seeing here documented in live time is more than sufficient evidence to draw the conclusion that this roof was and is affected and damaged by storm. Again, I've marked some mechanical, okay? Likely caused by toe boards or something. This is a pretty steep roof. Mechanical that we're looking at is measuring out to 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. However, the anomalies that I believe to be caused by hail, again, embedded granules, fractured asphalt matting, 1 inch, 1 inch, shadow, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Okay, let's continue onward. Real quick, matter of fact, I want to just further solidify the evidence that there was in fact hail at this property. We have spatter along the ridge cap, the hip, again, spatter on the plastic ridge vent. That is confirming hail at the address. Continuing on with our analysis, documenting now the left slope. Going to circle some anomalies that I can see standing on this pitch hopper. It's keeping me alive. Looks like this is probably caused by a tree limb here. See, it follows all the way across. Either that or mechanical. And what I want to do is take some measurements. Now, so far we have established a pattern for the hail reported on this date of loss. Let's see what it's going to be. 1 inch. Phone needs to cool down. Okay. 1 inch. 1 inch embedded granules. 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 Folks, based on what has been documented here in live time, the conclusion that should be drawn by anyone seasoned in this industry with the spatter, the date of loss, the collateral damages on the soft metals, which there's not many soft metals. There would be some on the gutters, but they're not soft, they're hard. And the size of these anomalies being measured, showing consistent and uniform measurements with the hail reported on the date of loss, the only logical conclusion is this home was in fact affected by the hail, damaged by the hail, and this policyholder with State Farm has suffered a loss because of that hail. And they deserve to be made whole from the damages on the roof. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time to review this. We look forward to hearing back from you.